Hi guys, welcome back to my channel where fun, fear and love live, but survival is paramount. Now for those of you who have been here from the initial, I'm just saying thank you very much. Continue to watch, continue to like and leave your comments. For those of you who are coming for the first time, please subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. Hit that notification bell as well so you'll get all the upcoming videos. Now, the topic that I am going to speak about, or the story that I'm going to speak about, is one that weighs heavily on my heart. And I've been wanting to speak about it, but I get emotional whenever I think about it, and I keep bantering and wondering in my head, should I not, or am I ready? Am I not ready to speak about it? Um, but here we go, because a lot of people, especially from the rural communities, we know that molestation takes place quite often, more often than we would like. So many people can speak about it because they have come in direct contact with situation like those, or your neighbor, a friend, somebody, or you know somebody who knows somebody who has. So this is my personal encounter with someone who has. Um, and as teachers, for those who are watching and are teachers, you can attest to this, because when children get to a point where they trust you, they'll tell you anything and everything. Sometimes, even as the teacher, you'll have to stop them in their tracks and tell them, no, 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 darling, you're not supposed to be speaking about this, you're not supposed to repeat that. And some of the time, I think parents are careless with the stuff that they speak about in front of their children and the things they do where their children can witness, because children repeat stuff. No, my personal encounter, and this is not a long story because I had to trim it down a lot to speak about it. I recall teaching at a particular school, grade 9 students at the time, and there was a student there, a girl, who was looking about some documents to do a certain business with her mom. So I pointed them in the direction as to where to go to get the papers signed and all the stuff that was needed for the particular thing that they were doing. And I remember the child brought the papers to me and pictures, photographs, and she asked me to have a look. While looking, I was there, I was kind of intrigued by the complexion of the individual, of one of the individual, which I didn't even realize was her mother. So I was there admiring the photograph, the complexion of the individual, because she has a beautiful complexion, um, dark chocolate and quite smooth. So I was just there admiring, since it was just left in its natural form, no rubbings, nothing. So I was just there admiring the picture. After I look at the documents and look at the spellings and so on, to ensure that everything was intact and everything was in the right column and spaces. And the child kept looking at me, looking at me, looking at me. So I was wondering why. And she said, Miss, I know why you're looking at the paper like that. And I said, you do? She said, yes, I know. I said, oh, I'm just looking at the picture and the complexion of the individual, because I think her complexion is beautiful. And she said to me, Miss, you don't have to be like that, it's me. I said, what do you mean? She said, I know what you're looking at. So I said to her again, don't you think the complexion is lovely? She said, you're talking about my mother? I said, yes. She said, yes, miss, my mother pretty, but me know none of that you look pan. So I said, why would you say that? That's exactly what I'm looking at. She said, no, miss, Miss, you're looking at the name. I said, the name? She said, yes. Because my mother and I share the same last name. And I know what you're thinking. So I said, what? Because I wasn't thinking anything along that line. She said, my mother and I have the same last name. And I know you're wondering how. Because my mom was not married to my dad. So I said to her, I didn't even notice. I wasn't even processing something like that because I don't know all your story like that. So that did not keep. She said, Miss, I'm just going to tell you, my grandfather is my father. I stopped. And I don't know how many minutes passed between that time when she blurted that out and when I finally responded to her, because I was in shock. I was in total shock because even if I expected her to say something, I was not expecting her to say anything of that sort, because I started stuttering because I did not know what to say to her. And she started crying, and I had to usher her from where she was, bring her all the way to a different side where there wasn't. And I said, baby girl, dry your tears. And I was just there in unbelief, shock, and basically lost for words. So I just hugged her, and I could not hold back my tears because she was crying, and it was a shock to me, but I knew I had to find a place where I offer some sort of comfort. And she said, Miss, I hate him so much. And that is the reason why when we have discussion in class about anything and they start talking about father, or any of my classmates started talking about their father, that's why I asked to go to the bathroom. She said, Miss, you don't realize that? I said, no, I did not notice. She said, yes, Miss. Miss, how can I stand up and tell the class that my grandfather is my father? How can I stand up and tell the class that my grandfather was intimate with my mother, and that's how I come about? Miss, I know sometimes when I am walking down the streets, people in the community, they are looking because everybody knows. And I've been asking my mother if we can move, and she said no, because where we are at, we're not paying any rent. If we're going to go to a different community, we'll have to pay rent and so on, which she cannot afford. No. First forward, she had asked me to not to say anything to the guidance counselor, so that's another story. I had to get different help for her and so on, and the mother. And that was when the mother started pouring out. When she came to see me, she started crying as well, and then she confessed that that is the reason why she does not have a partner up until this day, because she couldn't bring herself to be intimate with anybody else after her own father did that to her. It was difficult, she said. She said, I talk to men and I work with men because I can't do better. But it brought me to a place where I resent men. I even hated some of them because of what my father did to me. No, men, I'm just making an appeal. How can you do something to the person that you helped to bring in this world? How can you do something like that to the person who you should be protecting? How can you do something like that to the person who you should show unconditional love, groom, care, sensitizer as to what is expected from a man that is going to come in her life when the time is right? How do you expect a child like that to function and function if How do you expect a child like that to just merely put that aside and behave as if everything is peachy keen and all is good and well? Come on. Come on. This story has been weighing on me oh so much. And I've battered back and forth and think about it and wonder, how am I going to speak about it? I still keep in touch with her. She's doing much better these days, as well as the mother, because they are in counseling too. But fathers, come on. You're damaging your child, you're damaging your children. How can you do that? How do you get sexual feeling for your own child? How do you go about justifying the fact that you laid on top of your child and you feel that is right? Aren't you aware of the damage that you are creating when you made a decision to do something like that? When you wake up and think it is okay for you to have a relationship like that with your child, and go as far as to threaten the child as well, letting the child know that, okay, I brought you into this, I helped to bring you into this world, and I can take you out. And if you ever speak about it, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to do this to you. Come on. That's outright cruelty. You are being cruel when you do something like that. Where's the conscience? Where's the fact that wrong and right should be forefront in your mind and you know what to choose? Don't you consider the child's feeling? Don't you care about the child that you helped to bring in this world? How can you just go along and continue life as usual, as if nothing happened? How could you feel okay to have sexual dealings with your child? How could you pretend not to understand and see the hurt in your child's face every time she looks at you? How do you live with yourself? Fathers, get help. For those of you who have thoughts like those, for those of you who have plans like those, get help. It's not normal. And it's not right. There's help out there. There's help out there. Seek help. It's your own child. That fact alone should tell you you are already in the wrong when you have thoughts like that coming to the fore, much less to act on it. You're supposed to be the protectors of your child or children. You're supposed to be one of their go-to person when anything is wrong. But how can they go to the person who helped to make it wrong? What can they say to you? What respect you expect them to have to you? What relationship do you wish to have when you turn and do something like